Coach, Xavier Restrepo did well this last game. Can you talk about his progression as a receiver and, going forward, what he needs to do?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we felt good about X since the season started, since, game one when he caught the touchdown against Alabama. And I think Rob's done a good job of rolling him and Mike to try to keep them both fresh throughout the games. We've had that luxury this year. Last year, X was a freshman and Mike played the majority of the snaps. This year, Mike starts, and usually by the second drive, X is in, and we just kind of go back and forth as the game flows. And so we've had confidence in X from the start. I don't think he needs to do anything different. He just needs to keep being who he is. And it was good to, this game, I think between him and Mike, there was maybe 12 catches. And, against NC State, just their scheme didn't really lend the slot to catch a lot of footballs, but it was a little different against Pitt. And I thought those guys had a good day.
Hey, Rhett, how you doing today?
Hey, doing good. How are you?
Doing good. So we're sitting at the game on Pittsburgh, a bunch of us that travel with the team, and we're watching Tyler Van Dyke make some of the plays he's making, whether it's the ropes down the field, the third down pass with two guys in his face that was perfectly delivered, even that third down run that he had for a first down. And this is real high level stuff that we're seeing. And it's kind of come out of nowhere. It's not too long ago that, he was just the quiet, mellow guy sharing second team reps with Jake on the practice field. And nobody was really thinking too much about him. Now that the emotion of game day is removed, can you just talk about this a little bit from your viewpoint on just how you've seen this kind of evolve? And then also talk about, he's obviously not a finished product yet, as good as it's looking out there the last couple of weeks. What does he still need to get better at?
Really good observation. Great question. I mean, I do think the last thing you said, I agree with. He's played really well the last 2 weeks. I mean, you can't deny that. He's played like a guy who's a veteran and played a lot of ball. And I think that's why we've had success and been able to do enough on offense to help us win the game. He still has only, if you take out Central Connecticut, he's still only played 4 real college football games. And so I think while he's played great, things are still going to get tough. I mean, we've got a tough scheme this week that Georgia Tech runs, then you've got games down the stretch. So I think that's the thing he can really strive for, is to be consistent, be the same guy each week. But to your point, Tyler, we always had confidence in Tyler. It was never a matter of that. It's just when you start a guy who's young, you just never know how quickly things are going to click. And I do think he said something, I think, after the game the other day that I think makes sense. But the fact that he said it, I think, tells you where his mind's at. Is, the spring when Derek was out, I mean, him and Jake got all the reps. And he took majority of the reps with the ones. Jake had just shown up, was a true freshman. And I think those 15 days were big for him, with guys like Rambo and Harley and those guys, I think, to just gain confidence going against the one defense here and all those things. And then credit to him for when Derek came back, not changing who he is. He came out to practice every day and he went to work and he prepared like he is a guy. And I think that's a great lesson for any young player or young quarterback out there, especially nowadays when people just want to transfer when things don't go their way instantly, especially at that position. He was patient. He knew that his time may not come till potentially next year. But it came 3 weeks into this season. And, it took first game or 2.5 to kind of get some of that almost just normal rookie things out of the way, because he just never done it. He never played a game on the road. He never played a Power 5 conference game. He never done a lot of those things. And I think once he realized, it's a little bit Virginia game, but definitely in the second half of North Carolina, okay, I belong. It gave him a lot of confidence to just go out and play. And, man, to your point, I mean, that first throw he made on the third play of the game on third down to Keyshawn was incredible. Even the touchdown to Will on the trick play that we ran a lot before, where he really, put the ball on the rope to a wide open guy is not as easy as people think. And then that third down scramble, the game seems to have slowed down. I just see a sense of confidence in him over there that when he gets out there, he's seeing things clearly and it's slowed down for him. And you asked me how I feel about it. Obviously I feel great about it because it gives me more confidence the way I call the game. And just had no idea if it would take 1 week, 2 weeks, 5 weeks. And so hopefully he'll continue to progress and stay on the track he's at.
Yeah, that was going to be like a follow. How is it affecting how you call the game? I mean, to the naked eye, it looks like you're calling the game much more aggressively the last 2 weeks than you were at other points of the season, that you're taking more shots, doing different things. Have you, as his coach and as his coordinator, have you at times like almost been sitting there with your mouth open at what you're seeing, or did he give you hints of being able to do this at practice?
Yeah, I think I knew he had the physical ability to do it. I'd seen him, like I said, do that in practice in the spring. But yeah, as a coordinator, I'm sure a lot of guys who call plays would agree with me on this. You kind of call plays aggressively with the confidence you have in your players, and namely your quarterback, right? Because that's the guy ultimately on the field with the ball in his hands who's got to make things right. If it's a bad call, he's got to either make it right or avoid the disaster. If it's a great call, he's got to execute it, and all in between. And I think I've said this before. I mean, the first half against Virginia, I was extremely conservative. I got no problem admitting that. It was a kid's first game, really. And I was too conservative. We thought we could run the ball a little bit better the way they had been playing. They came out and played different. And towards the end of the first half, we kind of started opening it up a little bit. And in the second half, we didn't have a choice. And he really did some good things and grew up and played well. And, since then, I think I've learned two things. One, I've gained a lot of confidence in him that, even you go from that Virginia game till the last 2 weeks, he's throwing the ball away a lot. I mean, some of his best plays for the other day was just throwing the ball away. It doesn't show up in his stat sheet, but there was 3 or 4 times he threw the ball away, didn't take a sack, didn't force the ball. That was stuff, even against Virginia, we were taking a sack. Against North Carolina, maybe we were forcing the ball. And I think he's already grown to that level of hanging in the pocket to throw the ball, but when it's not there, scrambling to make some plays or getting the ball out of his hands and just, staying out of those disasters. So I think that's one. I think two, now that, I've kind of gotten comfortable with him and as an offensive staff, we kind of know what our identity is. And so you try to play to the strengths of the guys that are in there. So I think it's kind of a combination of those two things.
Hey, Rhett, congrats on the win.
Thanks.
Wanted to ask you just about protecting TVD. Obviously, you have the injury to the other 2 quarterbacks, and he's out there, scrambling, getting some late hit calls. I mean, just trying to protect him better, and just that whole concept of do you tell him to slide? What's sort of your advice to him, because he is a prized possession right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've protected him really well the last few weeks. I mean, it's football. He's going to get hit. And we're trying to go win the game. He's going to take some hits. We're not calling a lot of design quarterback powers or quarterback sweeps or those kind of things. But, if he pulls it down and scrambles like he did on that 3rd down, or if he throws the ball and they hit him late, that's not that we didn't protect him. That's they hit him late, And so those are going to happen. He's done a really good job. I remember against NC State, he slid a bunch, even against North Carolina. He's good about sliding for the most part when he can. And so I think, it's that deal. You can't play with fear. You can't coach with fear. Yeah, we've had some injury issues this year. I mean, we've been hit pretty hard at key positions, quarterback, running back, O-line. And you're right. With our depth situation, you do hold your breath sometimes. But we got to go still play to win the game. And I think he's done a good job of that. And, I think as each week we've done a little bit better up front, too, of protecting him. And so he's taken some hits. He took a few the other day, and he popped right up. But yeah. I mean, to your point, prized possession with the depth situation, but I think he does a pretty good job of knowing when to get down.
And then just really quick, you had an opportunity there at the goal line where I guess you could have done a QB sneak, and I don't know what would have happened if that ball that rolled out of bounds would have been 4th down, what you might have called. I know Jalen said he might have gotten a handoff there. But those type of plays, I guess, are off limits for Tyler. You just don't want to risk it in those situations.
You talking about when we were going in on the goal line, or that at the end?
Yeah. Yeah, when you were in there, you ended up going with Jalen diving over the top, but just, curious.
No, I think that's a great question. I mean, yes, we're going to do what we need to do to try to win each game. The next game's not promised to you, right? You got to try to win that one. But yeah, when we are mindful of what you're asking about. And if we don't have to run a quarterback sneak, if we've got perfectly capable running backs we can hand the ball to, or whatnot, then yeah, we're going to try to err on the side of letting other people carry that load.
Okay. Thanks.
Hey, Rhett, how you doing?
Hey, Kobe.
Kind of following up on a couple questions about CVD that you've been getting. in your, what, 15, 16 years coaching at this level, how rare has it been to have a quarterback like TVD, not the playing part, not the physical part, but just Coach Diaz used moxie, confidence, like the poise, I guess from start to finish. How rare is it to have that in a second-year quarterback or a guy who's only played, 4 or 5 games?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I have been blessed to have some guys with kind of that it factor, like you're saying. But I think the thing that's been unique and really impressive with Tyler is how quickly it transitioned. Like I said, he'd probably be the first to tell you, in the Virginia game, it was all new, right? And it wasn't the same. He probably wasn't throwing with the same level of confidence and certainty. And probably even the first half against North Carolina, he missed some throws that, since that half, he's not been missing. But for the fact that, rarely do guys turn it that quickly. They either have it or they don't most of the time. And then when they're young, you can see a lot of really good players that have had to start maybe as freshmen or true freshmen or redshirt freshmen, that it took really the whole year to really settle in and grow and develop. And again, it's only been the last 2.5 weeks really that it's happened. He's still got a lot more football to play. And I think we need to be fair to him with those expectations. But for him to do what he did really starting at halftime of that North Carolina game, it just, to me, shows a lot about his guts and, his confidence in himself to be able to settle down and, like I said, throw all that fear away and say, okay, I belong here. I can do it, and go out and play like that. He hadn't been perfect since then, but he's played like he belongs. And that's what I think's helped him have a lot of success.
And after the Virginia game or even the North Carolina game, did you reach back out to, his high school coach or, his old coaches and just ask like, hey, what can I do to help get him settled, or what have you found to be successful in that way?
Yeah, I haven't, and not because I don't think those guys would be great resources. I just kind of went to the source. So, we played the Virginia game and we came in that Sunday, and actually something I've never done before. I actually, a GA just kind of took care of the other quarterbacks, and I took Tyler in my office, and he and I would just watch the game together, just he and I. And it wasn't for any reason other than I just wanted him to be real and honest with me with what he was seeing. I needed to know what he was seeing, what he was feeling, what he was confident, what he wasn't. Actually, I lied to you. That was after the North Carolina game. I'm sorry. And, I think that really helped, because when you're in a room with, even though they're all our quarterbacks, they're close, we're all guys, we're all the same. Hey, we're going to kind of give you one word answers or keep things like, somewhat secure. Like, why did you not throw at this? Or why'd you do this? And you're not going to truly just say, this is what I felt, what I saw. And when it's just two people, you can maybe say, hey, Mike's wide open on the slant. You threw it behind him. He caught it, but he fell down. Like, what? He goes, I'm honest with you. He was wide open and I aimed it. I didn't want to miss him. That's the kind of honesty you get from guys when you're in that setting. And so I think it helped me understand how his brain works and what he sees and what he likes. I think it helped him voice to me kind of some of the things that he was feeling. And I think since then it's helped he and I be on the same page a lot better.
Coach Lashlee, how you doing? I got a question and a follow. How big has the addition to Clark at center been for the offense?
It's been really good. I mean, obviously he had kind of the same kind of learning curve that Tyler had, figuring out the center position. And I think he figured it out pretty quickly, and he's getting better each week, and he's really athletic. He's really smart like Corey was. And so I think, he and all those guys have done a really good job. Just like I said, we've now gone, I think, 5 straight weeks with the same guys, and that's really helped some continuity there. I think that's why we've been better both running it and protecting and getting some continuity. But I think he's done a really nice job. We always felt like after Corey was gone, he was the center of the future. It just came a little quicker than normal. And much like Tyler, I think he deserves a lot of credit, because that's a big change, making a lot of calls and, snapping the ball and doing everything that you didn't have to do at guard. And for him to be playing as solid as he is, I think just 4 or 5 games in, I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
Okay, and secondly, that reverse pass was well designed and called on time. Could you talk to us what goes into calling that play? Is it something you see, or is it timing with Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, you try to carry some things in each game. That's a play I've been running since I was at SMU. So I think we hit it 2 or 3 times each year I was at SMU. We ran it against Virginia Tech last year. We tried to run a version of it against App State this year. It didn't work. Timing wasn't good. I think to your point, you carry plays like that maybe you try to you feel a fit, maybe a defensive structure or scheme, which we felt like that fit what Pitt does on defense. But there is a timing element to it. You've got to get them in the right look. And, you just got to understand when you call plays like that, you got to realize you're going to be aggressive, you're going to take a shot like we did to Rambo later in the game. We had it and just missed it. And I think he dropped it down to 10. We ran a flea flicker again, and you're not going to hit them all. But you got to call it with confidence, knowing that you practiced it, you prepared for it. If you call it, timing it's kind of a feel thing, to your point on the time, and you feel like maybe when you need a shot in the arm or when you need it, or in our case the other day, we said we're going to go into the game, we're going to be aggressive. Our guys knew we were going to call that one of the first 2 drives. So when we got the opportunity to do it, we got to do what we say we're going to do. And they know that we're not going to hit them on. If not, so what? We're being aggressive. And now the defense has to think about a lot of other things, that they got to defend the rest of the game. So, but there's no question when you can hit something like that early, it helps us get off to the start we got off to.